The snow had started falling before sunset, thick and heavy, swallowing the road in white silence, as Mara pulled her worn coat tighter around her shoulders and leaned, her weight forward, pushing the rusted wheelchair inch by inch through the icy wind. Her fingers were numb, her breath shook in shallow gasps, and her boots slipped more than they held. Yet she did not stop, not when her arms burned, not when her knees begged her to collapse, not even when her mother's weak voice whispered apologies behind her, each word slicing deeper than the cold ever could. Her father sat beside her mother, wrapped in thin blankets that barely held warmth, his once strong hands now trembling uselessly in his lap, eyes clouded from years of illness and shame at being a burden. The road was empty, houses dark, doors closed. Lights gone. Winter had driven people indoors, into warmth that did not include strangers. Mara counted every step like a prayer, because stopping meant freezing, and freezing meant never getting up again. When she finally saw the motel sign flickering through the storm, vacancy, glowing weakly like the last breath of hope, she nearly cried aloud, pushing harder, ignoring the pain splitting her back and shoulders. Inside the office, warmth slammed into her face like a miracle, and for half a second she forgot the ache, forgot the hunger, forgot the fear that had rooted itself inside her since losing her job, her apartment, and then almost everything else. The man at the counter barely looked up at first, eyes glued to a screen, irritation already etched into his face before she spoke. She tried to sound calm, tried to sound respectable, but desperation cracked through her voice anyway. She said they just needed one night. One night to rest, one night to keep her parents from freezing. She explained her mother couldn't walk anymore. Her father barely could stand, and the snow had caught them far from anywhere else. The man sighed, glanced past her at the wheelchair dripping melted snow onto the floor, and his mouth flattened into a line that Mara recognized all too well, the look people gave when kindness felt inconvenient. He asked for payment up front. She swallowed and pulled out what little cash she had, shaking as she counted it on the counter, knowing even before he pushed it back that it wouldn't be enough. When he told her no, calmly, flatly, as if the words meant nothing at all, something inside her broke. She clasped her hands, tears spilling freely now, and whispered the words that would echo in her mind the rest of her life. Please. My elderly parents can't walk. Just one night. The room felt too quiet after that. The heater hummed. The clock ticked. Somewhere outside, wind screamed like a warning. The man rubbed his forehead, clearly torn between annoyance and something else he didn't want to feel. He muttered about rules, about liability, about how everyone had a sad story. Mara nodded at every word, humiliated, agreeing with him, because she had no strength left to argue. Her mother let out a small cough behind her, weak and wet, and her father shifted painfully, his lips turning pale. Still, the man shook his head and turned slightly, signaling the conversation was over. For a moment, Mara stood frozen, not from cold this time, but from disbelief. Then she did the only thing she had left. She stepped aside, knelt on the cold tile floor, pressed her forehead down and begged. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a broken whisper of a daughter trying to save her parents from dying on the road. She promised to clean rooms, to work mornings, to repay every cent. As she spoke, memories flooded her, her father lifting her onto his shoulders when she was little, her mother staying up nights sewing clothes so Mara could attend school with dignity, their laughter echoing in a home they no longer had. She didn't realize several minutes had passed until she noticed the room had gone silent again. When she finally looked up, she saw something had changed. The man's jaw was tight, his eyes were wet, and before he could stop himself, he turned away, grabbed a key from the wall, and slid it across the counter. Room 7, he said gruffly. Just for tonight. Mara didn't breathe until she heard the words twice. Gratitude hit her like lightning, and she sobbed openly now, thanking him over and over as she pushed her parents toward the door. Outside, the storm howled worse than before. But for the first time that night, Mara felt warmth not just on her skin, but somewhere deep enough to survive the winter. What she didn't know was that this single night would change far more than where they slept. It would unravel truths buried for decades, revive forgotten humanity, and prove that sometimes the smallest act of mercy can redefine an entire life. And as the door to room 7 closed behind them, fate quietly settled in, ready to reveal its hand.